Yo, 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 what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Winject Radio presented by Winject Studios. Today is a very exciting day. It's launch day for Dr. Ruth. I had Dr. Ruth Allan with us today, with host of Brain Health, Unchaining Your Pain. The first episode dropped today. Just Lee, yeah, today. What? So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris, for having me on your show again. It's just, I have so much fun in your show. I can't wait to come on. It's brilliant.
Right, yeah. So this is your actually second appearance on this one. And you came on also the Win-Win Effect. And remember when I think it was the first time that we had a conversation. And then I had the idea because I knew what I was building. And then when you came onto the Win-Win Effect, I dropped it on you. I said, Dr. Ruth, we're going to launch a show. And you were like, I don't know if I want to do that, but okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
But here we are. Here we are.
Yeah, so much quicker than I ever anticipated. But
right.
Yeah, you pushed me out of my comfort zone. I grabbed the chalice with both hands and ran with it, and here we are. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So
I am really excited, especially because I know all the people that have came on your show, and I've watched every single one of them throughout the process. I think we did it right. I mean, I think we recorded pretty much like eight or 10 episodes beforehand and got them ready to rock. But I will give you a little shout out though, and a little pat on the back. You're the first show that we're launching other than the Jess Lee Road Show. And then we have other ones coming up announcing Mark Jenkins, Anabolic Mind. But you've recorded faster than everybody else, which I little pat on the back for you, little round of applause. You made the process really easy.
Automate.
Yeah, that's right. So talk about the first episode.
Oh, wow. So the first episode, we have the awesome Jess Lee, who's a country singer. She rose to where she is today, leveraged through the voice, episode 14. And she talks about what brain health means to her personally. And she goes on her journey of her struggles that she had as a child. And what I love about that episode is her escape. And I see this a lot with people I've interviewed, is the escape that she needed from the trauma that she was struggling with became what was her passion and purpose in life, and really has turned into a mission that's become so much bigger than just her amazing voice. You know, she's, as we discussed on the show, she's one name, one voice, one mission, but her mission isn't just about singing. It goes so much beyond that. And that's what's so beautiful about the journey that she's been on.
Nina's already posting some stuff. You guys are so excited about this. We're learning Dr. Ruth get things done quickly. Yes. So, but yeah, that you talk about the driving forces, and I actually was talking to episode 123. Samantha Duran episode just dropped today on the Women Effect. The first episode, 57, was over 364,000 downloads, and we'll see what part 2 happens. Wow. But I was having a conversation with her earlier today, and I was talking about. I read something a while back, and there was this guy, and then he had a younger brother, and both his parents were alcoholics. Okay. And one ended up, and actually Nina, I sent her a message on it too, because when I read it, it's like one sibling will have a driving force and they'll not be that way and be very successful. And the other one will use it as a crutch. Right. Because in the human mind, and that's what I love about your show and the premise of the, brain health show, is you're giving the biology and the psychology behind what makes people tick, right? And then some people, they go into the, obviously the freeze mode, and that's not really that good. But when you go into freeze mode, but you have to kind of like deal with what you have, I guess, took on in your life, and can you use that as a driving force? I mean, it's the biggest catalyst in the world is pain and pleasure. And looking at those, but seeing what can I take from my life and use that to catapult me to another level. So I love that about Jess Lee's show, your episode that dropped today. You can really hear it. Like you got, and you're really good at, you think that you would have been a host before or something. You're really good. You're really good, by the way. So, but yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So talk about also some of the guests and some of the people who are coming up, and then we'll keep going back to the Jess Lee episode. But like, why do you think that you have a certain opportunity, right, with this show? and
Yeah.
a way that you need to present it. But this type of show is a little different because you're talking about trauma. You're talking
Mm,
about some things that people tend to not really want to talk about.
yeah.
Do you feel that that's a challenge for your show?
I think it's certainly a challenge, not just for the person that's on the show, but maybe a challenge for the listener too. Is it may resonate with some people.
Right.
So the way I approach it is to be as sensitive and as compassionate as possible, and help people uncover some aha moments that maybe they're not even thought about without triggering the trauma in a way that negatively impacts them, so that they can take their pain and turn it into the gain that they've managed to leverage for their life going forward, and share their story in a way that is helpful to people, rather than one that goes into the darkness that often we have, and doesn't bring people out and show them the light and the way through. So I think that's the way I've approached it. And I think, anything that's traumatic is often difficult to talk about. So
yes,
it's important to me that those people that do come on my show are willing to talk about it and have had that support and the therapy or the coaching, whatever it is that has served them to get out through the other side before we talk about it. And otherwise, the risk is that you end up having discussions that people haven't addressed. And so it's important that we frame it in that context.
Sure. You mentioned the listeners, and I love that you did mention it that way. A lot of content creators, when they go to leverage podcasting as a tool to maybe potentially gain more clients, maybe raise an awareness of their brand, increase their listenership, whatever the outcome is, what they're looking for, they don't keep in mind how the listener is going to receive it. And that's powerful. And I think that's a testament of how great you are at what you do for a living, is that you do also have in what's in the best interest of the other person tuning in. And that could be hard, and it might trigger a past experience, because that's what we're humans, right? That's what the human mind does. We find a way to relate pretty quickly, the commonality. I'm like, oh, I went through something like that before, and it might give them an emotional charge. And I think that's great that you're going to be doing the Q&As, monthly Q&A, and also you have the group and the recovery courses that you have. And I think, is that the main reason for that piece on that one side, is for those, if you trigger them and give them an emotional charge, to give them still an outlet of help?
Yes, exactly. I mean, we all go through trauma in our life, whether it's trauma from a natural disaster, whether it's childhood trauma, and it can, if you are struggling with your emotions from a past or a near-term experience, then ultimately you're experiencing trauma. So the recovery coaching that I offer is available for people weekly. You can sign up every week when you need it to help you unchain your pain in a safe environment, and they are group sessions, and you can book one-on-one sessions with myself. So if something has resonated from you in the conversations that we've had, and you're looking for support to unchain your pain, or to better understand how you can help your loved ones unchain their pain that they're suffering, then that outlet is available through the courses and the programs that I offer, and the reach back that I have to professionals who are very well versed in brain health and how our brain works, and image the brain as well, which is really important.
Can you talk about that a little bit more, about what a little bit more in detail on some of the things that you go over with individuals, if you can?
Yeah, so in terms of brain health, so it is such an enormously large topic,
Yes.
but the first thing is for the way it will work for my clients who come to me asking for help, is they'll initially have a consultation with myself to understand what outcome they're seeking from whatever their struggles are, and if appropriate, we'll do a detailed brain health evaluation for them, depending on where their struggles actually sit. And then they have the opportunity to either dial into coaching to support them in terms of unchaining their pain. And we typically use the emotional mindset management approach, which combines
Yes.
havening with brain health tools, where we dial in on how to take back control of your emotions, all the way through to looking at the other 3 quadrants of your well-being, which is your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and your spiritual well-being, to help you optimize all of them so that you can show up as your best self. So we go through all the way from unchaining your pain from past trauma, all the way through to optimizing your unique brain so you can get the best out of the organ that you've been given for life. So
that's one thing that made, just because you were born with that one organ, and you've went through some traumatic experiences and whatever that might have been for you. It could have been it could look at genetic proclivities, right? And then also just even the area where you grew up, your surroundings, your parents. The parents are a big thing, and that's where I see a lot. And I think that's something we talked about on the win-win effect when you came on. Even looking at people around me growing up, but then even my parents, and understanding their trauma, it gave me a different perspective. And that's where I'm able to show I've always been a very empathetic person, but I'm talking about like as in showing compassion and understanding, and then raising their awareness through subtle drops, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, totally. And I think what's really important here is to understand that our past experiences, including our parents' experiences, frame our perspective of the world, because our parents bring their baggage with them in terms of how they choose to help you and teach you how to, whether it's nurturing or the opposite of nurturing in terms of your personal development as a child. But we have an opportunity personally to unchain and break that link that isn't serving us, that has been given to us or may have been given to us from our childhood experiences, and stop that epigenetic carry through to the next generation and the following generation. And to know that we're not stuck with the brain that we have. We can unchain our pain. We do not have to rely on medication to do that. There are many other approaches. Of course, medication is incredibly important, but there are many other approaches that we can take beyond medication to do that. And to equip people with the right tools in the right context, in the right environment, so that they can take back control of their well-being and really be the boss of their future, be the boss of their brain health, and carry that experience, that positive experience, forward to the next generation. So I think that's really, really important. I don't think we spend enough time in educating people and reframing the conversations to have constructive rather than destructive ones, to help people work through their brain struggles, because we're all going to experience a brain struggle at some point in our life, whether that's from a trauma or from something else. And it's about knowing how we can work through it that's really important.
And giving people the proper tools. You're literally putting it on them to deconstruct it themselves. And I think that's what makes you very effective. And I did a havening technique, session with you. And even from that moment, and it was a perfect time, and you were very conscious of it. I was going through a lot of what I was going through at the time. And even still now, when I have a high emotional charge, I still do my touch with the hands thing that did it for me. And it really does help. And you start looking at it, and that's what I love about it. You don't really, therapeutic wise, as in voice therapy, you're talking through it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, even with your show, you can definitely tell that there's a framework, but you let the conversation come to you rather than you going after them. And that's very, if you know what you're doing, it's very effective. But most people aren't intellectually sound to have those types of conversations when you're dealt with a difficult conversation. But people like us, we can have really difficult conversations because we've strengthened that muscle in the human brain, where we're not going to, of course, we're showing compassion, but we're not going to take on your emotional charge. Now I'm not effective. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. And thanks, Chris. I really appreciate your feedback on that. And I know it's very easy, people who work in therapy, to feel as if they're drowning in everyone else's struggle, because they take on the pain that other people are suffering, because they don't necessarily have the appropriate tools to create that force field
Right.
that's necessary to show that compassion without becoming an empathic sponge and taking on that person's emotion. And it's really important that we own our emotions, and we own that we have a choice to decide how we want to feel
Yes.
based on someone else's experience. But we can't make that choice effectively if we don't have the right tools to know how we're feeling, which is the first thing, is to understand our own feelings, and then understand how we can manage the feelings that other people are expressing to us, and manage our internal emotions outwardly too. And it's not a tool that develops overnight. It's like a muscle. It takes practice to work with, and it takes practice to help other people work with their emotions too. And we know from trauma, the work that's been done by Dr. Gabor Mate on addiction and trauma, is that trauma is often the consequence of people not dealing with their emotions from childhood, and we bury those emotions because we don't equip our kids with the tools on how to deal with them, and we don't have those tools ourselves.
No, at all.
To know
I mean, when you're in
our own.
right, when I think is it a woman when the brain's fully developed at 25 and then 28 for a man? Is it?
That's right.
Have the right? When you're children, even when you're adolescents, when you become a man or become a woman at 18-ish, whatever, and that's, I don't know why that number is so important, is when you're legal as an adult, you're really not an adult yet.
No.
In my opinion, because you can make some really poor. And I actually remember telling my younger cousin this at one point. I said, the choices and the decisions you're making right now are framing what your life is going to look like. But you're unaware of it right now.
Yeah.
You be very conscious of like what's driving that emotion behind that emotion and why you feel a certain way. But if you don't know how you feel, and that's where you see a lot of people numbing it with alcohol and drugs, especially right now. And that's the biggest pandemic that we have right now. People are, unfortunately, and like September is suicide prevention month.
And October is Stoptober, which is quitting smoking. So
it's it's killing people because they don't know how to deal with their own stuff. And I hope that and I'm pretty sure it will, and that's why I was really excited about this show, because it's such a powerful message, and people need to start being okay with having tough conversations, or even hearing those from other people that went through something they went through. And I think this could be a huge lifeline for individuals that really don't want to study the human brain, but they would like to study the human brain through experiences of others. And I think that's a huge opportunity with this show.
Yeah. And this is all about helping to remove the stigma, because when we talk about our brain, we talk about an organ. So we immediately create that detachment between us and the label that we may think we are at fault, or we're broken, to the fact that our brain is in trouble. And that's a key differentiator in these conversations, is knowing that it's not you that is struggling. Yes, you are struggling, but ultimately it's understanding that your brain is in trouble. There's either a software issue or there could be a hardware issue, and it's getting the right support to deal with those two aspects of your brain health, much as thinking about your computer that we have. We all have technical glitches with our computers.
It's true.
And we have that with our brains too.
Some more than the others.
Yeah. And some of us have to do a complete reboot, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do a complete rebuild, and we can do that with our brains. We're not stuck with the brains we have. Sometimes and often the reboot happens when we crash. You know, when our stress levels get too high or our trauma level gets too high because we've buried the trauma and it leaks out, you know, our body says no because it can't deal with the trauma that we've buried. And we have to do a reboot for ourselves to restart that computer and rebuild that operating system again so that it works more effectively. And that can be done through a variety of means. And that doesn't mean that you are at fault, which is what's key here. It's that your brain needs help.
Yes.
And it needs help could need help in a variety of ways. And this show is about showing you the way and giving you the insights as to how other people have been able to unchain their pain, or indeed the pain of others, from professionals that will be coming on the show, who are specialists in brain health, to help you equip yourself with the tools that you can take forward, not just to help yourself now, but to help yourself later as well.
What do you think the most pervasive issue it is when it comes to people not getting enough knowledge of the right tools? I mean, you look at, I'll frame it this way. You look at people going through life and they're being reactive in life rather than being proactive. When I shifted my brain in that organ and rewired it to only see opportunities and making that shift to more of abundant lifestyle, that's when everything around me started changing. Even the people started removing themselves without me removing them, because I made them feel uncomfortable because of how much work I was putting in. It's kind of like where the emotional intelligence side, when I say emotional intelligence, we really didn't know what that was back in the day. We just thought, like, this Chris has just got a mouthpiece. He knows what time it is, right? Without a watch.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of can sense and feel where the conversation and what the other person really needs, not wants. Want and needs completely different. But the most pervasive issue, I believe, when it comes to understanding this, they think it's a bunch of hocus pocus bullshit. You know, excuse my language, but they think this is real. This is scientific proof.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the most pervasive issue is that we have created a discussion, a topic of discussion, where you're either okay or you're not okay. So people who fall into the okay category, you know, and we start with the question, are you okay? Don't feel they need to take any action.
Okay.
Because they sit in the okay camp. I'm okay. Why do I need to do anything about it?
Right. I sat there for a long time.
Yeah. And so what happens is people say, well, I don't have a mental health issue, so I don't need to do anything about my brain health. But the reality is every day we need to work on our brain health.
Yes, 100%.
Because every day we have got an opportunity to make it better. And we can improve our brain. Doesn't matter how old you are, you can improve it and get better with it and make it stronger and fitter and faster and more effective and more resilient and better at dealing with day-to-day struggles. But because people sit in this okay, not okay camp, we as soon as we put ourselves in this okay camp, we just I don't know.
We don't have enough time. It doesn't matter. Like would you tend to ignore, the universe will force you to deal with it at some point.
Yeah.
And you can believe in whatever you want to believe in life, but unresolved trauma is, I'm telling you, it's like dynamite.
Yeah.
At some point, you don't know when that fuse is gonna, gonna be lit, and then something's gonna happen. You can't compartmentalize the stress and all the other stuff around you. Like, this is where I believe, and this is I believe so much in the community we were building. Alpha Hippie, they turn men pro, right? And teaching, like yanking that little boy out of their body and forcing them to deal with them. The same thing with the female-centric community we have on board with Be Your Own with Samantha Duran. Is something else, just giving them the tools. And I believe that's where we are in the world right now. It's just giving people tools. We can't fix you, however, but we can give you a roadmap and framework, and then the tools, and then the how-tos, and then you can go do it yourself.
Yeah. And the key thing here is you have to fix you.
That's 100%. No one's coming.
Well, and even if people do come with the drugs and stuff, you still have to do the internal work to fix
100%.
yourself. The drugs deal with the symptoms typically.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the deep work to deal with the root cause of your struggles, and it can take time. And you know, to treat the brain like a muscle, we have to practice it, we have to work it every day, and we have to train it every day. And this isn't just about,
Right.
you know, going and learning. This is about training ourselves on all 4 quadrants of the
Mm-hmm.
well-being
Right.
framework that I talked about. And this is about training ourselves emotionally. And we talk about emotional intelligence, but we need to be careful how we frame that, because ultimately this is about connecting with your emotions, and your emotions drive your operating system. You know,
Yes.
they drive how, whether it's going to work properly or not, whether it's going to do the right things or not. So
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely vital that we focus on our emotions, because that's the underlying driver. And Charlie and I had a conversation about
I
this.
love Charlie. Charlie Smith. If you're listening to this,
Charlie
bro, I love that dude, man. That guy is one. He became one of my best friends overnight when I very first met him. I love that guy to death. Anyways, but shout out to
Yeah.
Charlie.
And Mark Jenkins and I, you know, Mark
Yeah,
Jenkins
yeah.
is coming on the show, and he is very much focused on physical fitness,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't ignore mental fitness. You can't ignore mindset training. You can't ignore your emotions that come out through the process of becoming physically fit, because they're all interconnected. Your brain is not disconnected from your body. Your brain
Mm-hmm.
runs your body. And it's important that we think about it like that, and we think about the brain as our engine of life,
Mm-hmm.
and we focus on tuning our engine, getting it serviced, doing the training to learn how to drive the car properly, doing the fine work, you know, to get the engine optimized, putting the right fuel in our engine, making sure we're lubricating it properly with the right lubricants. Omega-3 is a classic, where many of us are deficient in omega-3, many of us deficient in vitamin D. That it massively can influence our mood. So it's
Yeah.
really important that we look at all of it and don't just go on the I'm in the okay camp, I'm not okay, because we you know, in the professional fitness industry, there's always another level. And
Mm-hmm.
in brain health, there's always another level that you can get to. There's always a you know, a better outcome that we can achieve. But I don't want to be just okay.
No.
I want to feel great.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be performing at my best in every walk of life, in how I connect with people, and in how I connect with my core values, and fulfilling my mission in my fitness space, you know, physically fit, in how
Mm-hmm.
I connect with my daughter, you know, my family. I want to be that role model. I don't want to just be uh, the one that's just surviving rather than thriving. And I want to thrive in all aspects of my life. And that's what brain health is about. So it's really easy for us to go, right, well, I'm really successful
Mm-hmm.
financially, but everything else is
Right.
absolutely
I was
crashing
talking. You're
around.
talking about my life. I was literally I was high. That's just a warm place to hide success, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because you're giving off everything's fine. Everything's fine. He's good. He's doing well. He's got businesses. He's got this. He's impacting people's lives. But deep down, I was suffering.
yeah,
I was really
yeah,
suffering, and I'm not hoping that this will reach the right people at the right time for them to go, and that's when I started talking about it, Doc. When I started talking about my trauma, started talking about my healing
yeah.
process and recovery process, things in my life started changing for a positive, because I was sharing more with other individuals, but not just sharing. I'm sharing on purpose, because
Mm,
it's like I look at like podcasting has done for me. That was very therapeutic for me. When I started interviewing guests that came onto the
mm,
show, you can definitely tell that my framework is changed from business stuff to, okay, let's teach people how to win. And how to win,
mm.
it starts here in your mind.
Yeah, I mean,
You need
I listened to the early episodes of your show, and is a huge shift, as you said, in terms of what you're talking
I
about,
appreciate
and
that. Yeah.
how you personally show up. And I think it's fantastic that you recognize the journey you've been on, because we all go on a journey, don't we,
Mm-hmm.
in life. And if you're struggling to comprehend how far you've got to go, it's really important we acknowledge how far we've come,
Yes. Yeah.
and just
It's
keep
important.
moving forward incrementally, keep taking those steps, and eventually we will get there. And if you are struggling, that, you know, with your brain health in whatever capacity, whether that's from a mental health standpoint, or whether it's from fear of Alzheimer's disease, because
Mm-hmm.
dementia runs in your family, then know that there's always support available to you to take back control and to
It's my
reduce
biggest
your risk
fear.
factors, and to improve your brain health at any age.
Mm. I look at that as my biggest fear in life, Doc, is I watched my grandmother, and rest her soul, um, really suffer with dementia. And it was, she was in there, right? But she wasn't there for most times.
Yeah.
And it really bothers me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was like, that was something that I did not want to, I just don't, God willing. As long as I keep feeding my brain the right stuff and me putting in the hard work, I'm setting up my framework for the rest of my life. And that's what most people don't understand, because they go into the okay world, okay, I'm okay. Well, I don't want to, you just mentioned it. I don't want to just be okay. You know, I mean, look at the lives that you can impact and the compound effect of that, even with the show, because you got some amazing guests coming up.
Yeah.
You got, I
Yeah.
think, is it Mark Jenkins next week?
Yeah. So we've got
Right?
Samana Duran, and we've got
Yeah.
Nazia Khatun.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Amy Kardashian. Gosh, who else have we got coming up?
Charlie.
Karen Wright.
Yeah.
Charlie Smith, and so many more that are coming online in the next couple of weeks and months. So it's really exciting for people and across the spectrum of industry success, and professionals who work in this space, including professionals who work with children, pediatricians, will be coming on the show to talk about brain health and what it means for them. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, Nina was like, she was saying I will hopefully be added to that list. Yeah, I haven't got around to make this introduction yet. I think I kind of pre-did it on LinkedIn the other day when I commented on your post.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
all
that was
right,
pretty
Nina, I'm
snazzy.
there for you.
I thought that she's got a phenomenal story, and this woman right here. And just a little shout out. Just a little announcement. Nina Perez will be taking my slot on Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern every Monday. So, which will free me up a little bit more in depth on just trying to fit everyone's time, because me like doing shows and really promoting shows, it's going to be really difficult to just one time slot. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'll be kind of like a surprise going live when I'm doing a promotion. So I'm going to go live each week, one day, but I haven't figured out the kind of the date and the time. But Nina Perez will be taking over that. I'm so excited for this, because if I could pick one person that's going to bring that fire on a Monday, it's Nina. So, but yeah, I appreciate you, Nina. But I thought it was a pretty snazzy way that I did that little brief introduction. I thought I was like, I'm gonna start doing this like, would you like me to make this introduction? And it kind of gives, you take it from there. So now I'm sending a long email, hey, this is how I met this person, and this is that just takes so much of my time.
Yeah, and I think I've connected with Lena on LinkedIn because I know you told me to. So and Carolyn, hi Carolyn. So I think for people who want to share their story, I think I'm hoping that this platform will be an opportunity to give people the courage to tell their story as it is, to give people hope. That there is always somebody who needs you at the end of that dark tunnel, and to know that someone is there as your guide to help you, and there is always somebody that will be there as your guide with the torchlight, with the light to show you the way, even if you can't see the end in sight. There's always someone there that can support you and help you through, and help your family through too, and whatever crisis you may be in now, or whatever crisis you have been in your past, is there is always hope, and there is always support. And I think for me it's important that people know there is always support available to you weekly. And I know we have this crisis that is looming or present from a COVID perspective in terms of mental health and shortages, but there is always support through the coaching that I offer every week. It's always available to you. You just have to reach out and ask for support, and we will provide it to you. So there is no reason for people to feel that there isn't that hope there, because there's always hope.
I love that you said that, because there is help always available, but people like myself have a hard time asking for help, and I believe that this podcasting and this show could be that tool that people need. And maybe it could spark something, and maybe they'll be a little bit more open to reach out for help, because that's a powerful angle there that I didn't really look at until today with your show. This could reach people and maybe spark that interest and pique that interest for people.
Yeah, and I think what's important, we have talked about this, you and me. I'm sorry about the light. I can't reach.
Oh no, it's angels touching you. You're good. That's what my mom would say.
Get my head. I've got this stripy head.
Zebra or zebra.
I do look like a zebra. So the thing is that asking for help doesn't mean you have to talk about your deepest, darkest struggles. That's the key here. Is a lot of the times people are very fearful of therapy because therapy hasn't served them, or they don't want to talk about their experiences because it's too painful. I know we had this conversation when we were doing havening, and the key thing here is you don't have to tell me anything to experience relief.
It took the pressure off
from your trauma. It's like a release valve, isn't it? Without actually having to regurgitate.
I was like, oh, thank God. I mean, because I thought, because me showing up to that session, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared. I was like, man, I put in all this work. I don't want to talk about stuff that I feel like I've already got a handle on now.
Yeah.
And I was kind of scared. Like, is this going to spiral me out of control? Like mentally, because it's like you can put up that facade for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really struggling mentally, and it's, I think also with the human mind, like me getting closer to obviously the situation I have going on, but me getting closer and closer and closer, I'm now starting to feel it more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really feel it. And it's like, if they moved the goalpost on me, I would have to go into another havening session, because that could be something that would spiral it could put me back to step one. And that's where most people don't understand.
Yeah. And I think that's key. That point is really key, is that you can go through support and counseling and therapy and, go through a multitude of different things to help you. And that is really important that we do that, so that we can improve our emotional baseline and be able to manage our emotions better. But life throws you curveballs.
Oh man.
And you can't just ignore that these curveballs are coming, because they're around. Sometimes they're around the corner, or they just happen
anticipate
instantly.
it. Yeah, you can anticipate it and be like, man, this is happening. I know what time it is right now. I know what's going to happen. And that's when you really start getting like zoned in to your true inner self, is when you can feel when something's about to happen.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that we allow people to have that opportunity to reach out and get the support when they need it. That we're not going to be perfect. Therapy and coaching support is an ongoing process. Yes, we might need to have that help in the present moment, but we also need to appreciate that we might need that support going forward too. So I think that's really important to recognize, that we acknowledge that wherever we're at, is if you need help to work through a struggle, whatever that may be in your life, then don't wait for yourself to crash. Get somebody to work through it. with
Right.
you, whether that's a coach or a therapist, because
Mhm.
we typically default to that I've hit rock bottom, and now I need to rebuild myself back up again. But we don't have to wait for that. We can help somebody stop us falling into the hole in the first place,
Mhm.
and equip us with the right tools to be able to get out on a continuous basis, and stay out.
I think that when you mentioned that rock bottom, people think that rock bottom's a certain thing, but then start looking at the other parts of the world and realizing that you're not on a bottom.
Mm,
You know what I mean? It's
yes,
just that your
exactly.
experiences and your perception. Your perception is that's rock bottom for you, and that's
Mm,
okay if you feel that way. You're entitled to your own feelings, but also need to look at other possibilities. Then you can understand you don't have it as bad as other people potentially, and that could be
mm.
a catalyst that can get you out of that situation. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
when I started looking at certain situations in my life, there's, and this is where it really bothers me. Like Anthony Bourdain killed himself in Paris, right? And these people, Kate Spade, and all these people really suffering at a very high level.
Mm,
Okay, and it really bothered me. That was something that I started studying a lot more of because I felt like I was going down that road. You know what I mean?
mm,
People would beg and they're praying for the life that we have right now, Doc.
mm.
And no matter what situation you're in life or whatever circumstances, you can get yourself out of there. You got to
Yeah,
hold fast and stay true. Like what tends to keep coming to you, you might be attracting into your life and keep setting the ball in motion. I mean, you have to kind of like also look at, and that's why the tools are important for you to start the healing and recovery process. Then you won't be attracting those things and that situations in your life. And I could go down this deep rabbit hole with you all day, but
yeah.
but I don't know. That's just my like take on that because when you hit rock bottom, that's not rock bottom for everybody. That's
No,
your
it
rock
isn't.
bottom, right? In your own
Yeah,
perception.
that's right. And I think it's, we always have this fear that we could go even deeper.
Yes.
That rock bottom might not be the end for you, which is why it's really important that you ask for help, and
Hmm.
that's the kind of underlying theme is it's not a weakness to express your vulnerability, it's a strength,
Yes.
because when you ask for help, you immediately acknowledge that someone can strengthen you and build you up,
Hmm.
like asking we all, several people, let's take Mark Jenkins as an example. He's got clients, A-list celebrity clients,
Yes.
who are professionals in their own right, but they still need somebody to help themselves get to that next level and
Hmm.
do what's necessary to be that person that they want to become. And so it's important that we get the right help at the right time and acknowledge there is always someone there out for you to do that for you, to support you in whatever your journey is in life.
Right. I think that's important. Most people think I need a life coach. Some of these people drive me insane, but I need a life coach. Well, you need a bunch of coaches. I have a
Yes.
lot of different types of things that I leverage. I don't just have I have a finance, business, development,
Hmm.
obviously opportunity, creative director side. I mean, there's a lot of other things. And most importantly, when I started to really break down how much I was invested time, energy into other things to build and create my wealth, I wasn't putting enough in to create my mental health
Yeah.
and obviously helping myself there.
Yeah.
It's a really bad situation to be in this, and I want to say this to everybody. I want everyone to understand this. It is a horrible feeling being able to buy whatever you want in life potentially, okay, and having it at your fingertips and just pretty much on Amazon. You can buy anything on Amazon, right? You can buy anything you rather want, but you have to beg for the things you need, and
Mm,
that's something I felt. And beg for the
yeah.
things you need in life, and that's what these tools. That's what this show can do for you.
Mm.
I'm really
And
excited.
yeah, and I think the thing I think that's really important is you can't buy peace.
No.
You have to find peace.
Mhm.
You have to find it inside yourself, that peace and that tranquility and calm. You can't buy that.
Mm-mm.
You have to find it internally. And that's what's really important, that, you know, you can get support, you can buy support, but you have to do the finding yourself. You're the one that has to do that work and find that happy level for you, whatever that happens to be for you.
Right.
And this
Wow.
show is really about helping you learn how you can do that and learn from other people's stories and journeys that they've been on,
Right.
to get to the place that they are today.
Right. What are some of the just for real quick before we wrap up today? And I appreciate you coming on and obviously spotlighting your show. I'm very grateful to know you. Very grateful that we get to spend a little bit more time together, even on obviously the podcasting thing and obviously the creative directing side and trying to figure out, okay, who goes where and what do we need to do with this one. And I'm really excited about this. But for the most part, like if you can kind of like you're on Apple and pretty much everything, but I'm talking about like what are some of the milestones and what are some of the things that you have set for your goals for your show?
Whoa, that's a big question. And to be honest, I haven't massively thought about it.
I know you're very
Apart
competitive a person. We're very similar in that aspect. So that's why I asked. Yeah.
Well, so my core goal will be the same, is to impact over 10 million people's lives. And this year is all about doing that, is to reach as many people as possible, at as many levels as possible, to equip them with the tools that they need that will allow them to empower themselves to take back control of their brain health and to take back control of their well-being and step into that person that they want to become, and know that there is always a way. Someone has found a way through the jungle or the trials and tribulations that you may be going through, and fought the way through the other side with or without a support, to get to the phenomenon that they are today, and to know that you can get there if you really want to. So that's the real goal, is to change 10 million people's lives.
Well, you definitely have changed mine. So you got one out the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You got one out the way, whatever the numbers are, right? So it's going to be fun. Of course, episode 1 drops today, so you'll be dropping every Monday from my memory.
That's right.
So every Monday morning, make sure you're tuning in. There are about an hour episodes, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that's why we're dropping potentially one a week. And I think that obviously we're open to the feedback from your listeners and more obviously understanding what they need from you. And that's just something that I think that really helped me through my podcasting journey, was making sure there was a lifeline there and I got feedback from my listeners.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gave me a proper adjustment to what they need from me.
Yeah.
Because they might potentially not know what they need from me, but I'm able to see it through the feedback.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. That's massively important for me, because this show is about serving the listeners and helping them grow and helping them unchain their pain in the context of brain health. And the more feedback that we can get, the more people that can join the live Q&A monthly to learn about their brain health, the more likes and shares we can get, the more, ratings that we can get to understand what people liked and loved and what they want more of, the better it is for everybody. So please do, let us know what you want, how you feel, what you need, and we'll do our best to serve you.
Right. Make sure, and this goes out with saying sometimes, like the 843-396-2104, that texting community, that's obviously our strategic partner community app. It will be coming to the UK soon, but it's only in the US and also in Canada right now, but we'll be opening up in different parts. But just send an email. There's contact information all over the place with us. And even if you were watching this and it triggered your mind and maybe it made you think of someone, just send them a video. Send them the video and allow them to come to their own, obviously, decision from there. And that's something that I took that advice from a pretty predominant individual. I'm not going to name drop, but that was advice that she gave me once. It's like if somebody crosses your mind, you don't need to fix them. That's not your job. That is not your job. Just send them something that when it triggered your mind, like, hey, I thought of you when I watched this. And don't tell them where, so that way they watch the whole thing. So anyways, but that's a little piece of advice for those out there trying to be captain, save a whatever, right? That's not a good feeling because your job's never going to be done. Never going to be done.
And no, and you know, sharing content that is supportive and helpful for people, you never know what impact that will have on someone. You could save someone's life through that
Yes.
through that contact. So, you know, please do share it because people need this right now. And people need a new way to focus on the struggles they're having so that they can learn how to unchain their pain.
Right. Even on Spotify, I think on Spotify, you can share it from a certain spot. You know, like say if you're listening to a show on Spotify, I don't think Apple's done that, but Spotify, when you're listening to it, you can share it from that certain spot. Like, hey, listen to it, and then send it to them on text message and all kind of stuff. They're getting a little snazzy now, but Doc, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and really excited for you. Really excited. Any other things you want to leave the listeners with today?
All I just say is if you are struggling, just please do reach out for help. We're here for you. You can go to the show and there's links on the show page. You can go to my website or you can direct message me through Instagram and register for the live Q&A on the 4th of November, Wednesday, the 4th of November, so that we can serve you best. And that information is all showing there. So do get in contact and we're here to help.
There's nothing worse than a scroll than you're like waiting until like, okay. So sometimes I just put it up just like this, but for everyone else, I mean, just make sure you're going out and tune in to the Jess Lee episode to drop today.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. I'm really excited. Dr. Ruth's in the house. All right. It's, guys, be well, be you, be great. Peace out. Much love. Make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. Russ Johns, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Remember, next week, you won't see this face at this time. You will see the beautiful Nina Perez, my Puerto Rican Oprah. What? She's going to bring some heat with hosted a Straight Talk No Sugar Added podcast. I'm really excited. But other than that, guys, be well, be you, be great. Peace out. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye, guys.
Cast is brought to you by Wincheck Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.
We're still live, I think. It wouldn't stop for some reason.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm just going to bounce off. I'll call you. But if we're still live, I don't think we're still live, but we are still live. Hello, everybody. This is what happens when I'm back. It says an error occurred. Wait a minute. We can't. They won't stop us. The universe says we have to keep going until they stop. No, we'll just end it. We'll just leave
I can do
All right, Doc. Peace. All right.
Peace.
Just leave this thing. Yeah.
Yeah.